contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
And now, with the main news bulletin, this is Grace Msimuko.
Good afternoon. This is 5FM Main News. The headlines. Vice President has discouraged citizens planning to stage a protest during the day of prayer, fasting, repentance, and reconciliation. The Ministry of Tourism calls for support towards Chimfunshi Wildlife Orphanage. And Burkina Faso to sign a nuclear power deal with Russia. This bulletin is also streaming live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. The details. Vice President Mutale Nalumango has advised people intending to protest during the day of prayer, fasting, repentance, and reconciliation, which falls on the 18th of October 2023. Mrs. Nalumango says the UPND administration resisted this day but has now embraced it because it is a government decision. She has urged all citizens to embrace the day of prayer, fasting, repentance, and reconciliation regardless of political affiliation. The Vice President was responding to a question raised by Kawata Member of Parliament Andrew Tayengwa, who wanted to know the position of government on those intending to protest on this day in Parliament this morning.
I would just say, I hope it is not people from this side that want to politicize that day. That would be very sad if the people on your right wanted to politicize. But if it is people from your other side, that would be also a very sad thing because they brought the day and said it was non-political. And we have honored the day. So we don't expect, Honorable, we don't expect politics on this day.
Tourism Minister Rodney Sikumba says there is need for various stakeholders to support the Chimfunshi Wildlife Orphanage so that it can grow and attract domestic and international tourists to the Copper Belt. Speaking when he graced the 40th anniversary of the orphanage at Lusaka's Alliance Francaise, the minister said the initiative has been of help to government by teaching people around the surrounding communities to learn alternative sources of livelihood. He says the orphanage is closest to what tourists go to see in Rwanda, where the main wildlife attraction are the mountain gorillas. Hence, there is need to open the facility to a more touristic feel. Mr. Sikumba says the ministry stands ready to assist Chimfunshi in the quest to raise the much-needed funds to develop the facility.
Also, because we're looking at opening up our country for more tourism sites, I was just whispering to my team here, and I was like, this is closest to what we go to see in Rwanda. And I did mention to Sebastian, I said, what should we do to actually open it up to a more touristic feel? What is it that you require from us as government to help you, to handhold you, to making sure that this burden of you having to raise 14K every year is actually assisted by having as many people as you possibly can coming to visit this particular place.
And Chimfunshi Orphanage Board Chairperson Sebastian Luis, there is need to take care of the species, failure to which they may go extinct in a period of 30 years.
A century ago, there were more than 1 million chimpanzees. Today, there are about 150,000. Chimpanzees are hunted and smuggled because they are kept as pets, because they are traded as bushmeat, because they're still used for supposedly medical.
The National Governing Council of the African Peer Review Mechanism in Zambia has applauded the government for embracing the ideals of the African Peer Review Mechanism. National Governing Council spokesperson Grace Msimuko says with the rare privilege, the NGC has kick-started the country's second-generation review of the mechanism. Mr. Msimuko says the move follows the country's inaugural peer review and accession to the mechanism in 2013 and 2006, respectively. He has noted that the inaugural country self-assessment Zambia conducted was pretty much the same as this current review in terms of procedures and principles, save for one very distinct feature in the current and second generation review of having a new and extra thematic area.
Stakeholders across the country invited to this undertaking take this endeavor seriously for the betterment of Zambia's development agenda for the benefit of all citizens. As Zambia delves into the second generation review, the NGC remains confident and optimistic that citizens, through the stakeholders giving input to the process, will be objective enough to ensure that due diligence regarding Zambia's
Firm is disturbed by citizens who are deliberately burning forest landscapes and grasslands adopted by mine for environmental conservation. Dr. Bin says some people recently walked into a protected game management area and set the area ablaze. He says chiefs still have the royal authority to stop bushfires, adding that FQM will do everything possible to join efforts with traditional leaders to enforce environmental protection. Meanwhile, FQM Trident Limited environment manager Kachiwala Sapaulo said the company has spent $6 million to protect a rare tree species called Mavunda in northwestern province. Mr. Sapaulo said FQM Trident, popularly known as Kalumbila, has surface rights amounting to 385 square kilometers, of which only 100 square kilometers is currently being disturbed through mining. This came to light during a Center for Environment Justice CEJ Traditional Leaders Caucus in Lusaka. In other news trending this afternoon, the Young Women's Christian Association, YWCA, has commended the government for providing employment and study opportunities to the 13 young women who were abducted in 2022. The Winter Kavimba-led Economic Front Party has urged President Hakainde Hichilema to direct the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, to reduce fuel pump prices to 12 kwacha per litre, in line with his 2021 election campaign promises. Up next, business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
The Cotton Board of Zambia and the International Communication University have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish framework for cooperation. The purpose of the partnership is to facilitate research collaborations and provide industrial attachment opportunities for ICU students pursuing studies in agriculture and environmental sciences. The two institutions have agreed to explore and engage in joint research projects, knowledge sharing, and collaborative initiatives in fields related to cotton production, agriculture, and environmental sciences. Under this partnership, the Cotton Board will provide internship opportunities for ICU students in relevant departments where students can gain practical experience and contribute to projects and initiatives of mutual interest. Speaking at the signing ceremony, ICU Deputy Vice Chancellor Dr. Kelvin Chibomba said the two institutions have embarked on collaboration, knowledge exchange, and joint actions that will have lasting impact on the nation's cotton production. Dr. Chibomba says cotton is a critical leading cash crop, which is an important means of livelihoods for millions of stakeholders and attracts export revenues for some of the poorest countries. Meanwhile, Cotton Board Chief Executive Officer Sundizwayo Banda notes that there has been an exclusion of the academia that is critical to provide valuable advice to challenges the sector is facing.
It shows us that maybe we've been excluding some academicians like ourselves, or excluding researchers like ourselves, in providing valuable advice to what could be done to improve our sector in terms of pricing intelligence, in terms of access to market information, in terms of access to extension provision, access to data improve, whether it is probability of breeding, out research, outstation research, outstation breeding, and so on could be done. And the institution is better poised because they're training students who are interested in this field. So we have a research station not very far from here. Last time we invited you.
In foreign news, Burkina Faso and Russia are scheduled to sign a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for the construction of a nuclear power plant in the West African nation, according to the state-run AIB news agency. The agreement will be a culmination of talks the Burkinabe military ruler, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, had with Russian President Vladimir Putin in July during the Russia-Africa Summit in Moscow. The MOU will be signed between Rosatom, the Russian Federal Atomic Energy Agency, and the Burkinabe Ministry of Energy on the sidelines of the Russian Energy Week 2023, AIB said. A roundup from the BBC.
The World Trade Organization has warned of a permanent rise in global prices because of growing barriers to trade. The head of the agency, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, told the BBC that more trade was now happening within regional trade blocs than between them. She said the effects will be expensive. Ms. Okonjo-Iweala fears that mainly Western countries are deciding to produce more of what they consume closer to home, potentially marking a permanent change to trade patterns. Microsoft's revised offer to buy the maker of Call of Duty, Activision Blizzard, has been approved by British regulators. The Competition and Markets Authority originally blocked the $69 billion deal, which is the biggest in gaming history. The watchdog said its concerns about the takeover had been addressed, but it also criticised Microsoft, saying the company had unnecessarily wasted time and money. 7 people have been killed in a road accident in Germany when their vehicle apparently tried to escape from police. Officers suspected the minibus might be smuggling illegal migrants crossing from Austria.
In sports news, Zambia got straight to work at the 80,000 capacity De Martyrs Stadium in Kinshasa ahead of this Saturday's 2024 Colombia FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup second leg qualifier against DR Congo. Kickoff will be at 1600 hours. Zambia's ambassador to Congo, Dr. Paulo Cosita, watched on as coach Charles Ahalubono and members of his technical team took the Copper Princesses for a workout. Cosita is confident that the team can beat DR Congo and qualify to the third round if they work as a team. The first leg finished 2-2 in Lusaka. Winner over 2 legs will meet Burundi in the third round. That sporting item brings us to the end of the news. Before we go, a recap of the headlines. Vice President discourages citizens planning to stage a protest during the day of prayer, fasting, repentance, and reconciliation. The Ministry of Tourism calls for support towards Chimfunshi Wildlife Orphanage. And Burkina Faso to sign a nuclear deal with Russia. That is all that we had for you in the main lunchtime bulletin today, Friday, the 13th of October, 2023. For these and more items, you can follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the happy world of 5FM Radio. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. My name is Grace Msimuko. Do have a blessed and safe weekend.